The Odd Shanae Show is sponsored by Anchor, the Democratic Republic of Diamingshania, Pina Viga Entertainment Group, the Diamingshania Corporation, and by listeners like you. Thank you. The thoughts, ideas and suggestions of Gage Kirby, the GC2 cult, the conservative right-wing media, and any form of media not promoted and or created by the Democratic Republic of Diamingshania, Pina Viga Entertainment Group, or any member organization of the Diamingshania Corporation, does not in any way, shape, or form, legally, realistically, or accurately represents the beliefs of the On Shanae Show, has no personal connection with any member of the On Shanae Show, and is in no way, shape or form an accurate or realistic representation of any member of the On Shanae Show. The On Shanae Show and Pina Viga Entertainment Group, along with the Democratic Republic of Diamingshania, wishes you a wonderful, peaceful and beautiful Pride Month. You are valid and nothing will ever change that.
Cast aside, there's no coming home. We're burning chaos in the wind, drifting in the ocean.
I'm going to read something completely cringeworthy, I would try to put it on the screen, but the problem is, since I'm not operating something that runs on a Chrome operating system, which means it won't allow me to run Google Books on my MSI, so it won't let me pop it up on the screen. So do bear with me. You're just gonna have to watch my pretty icon speak as I read this cringe and slowly suffer a brain hemorrhage. Don't be surprised if it breaks my mind so much that I just start talking backwards like Master Yoda at some point, just to try to make it funnier. The Emo Boy by Lance Rene. And no, it's not doxing, because he's actually put his own legal name in the author's credit. Instead of using a pen name like someone normally does when they don't want to attach some writing to their own name, he straight up used his own legal name as the author's credit. Now, this wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the fact that that he's like stupidly putting his own name out there again of his own volition. I mean, it was bad enough he was so stupid that he basically threw his own fucking name out there to someone that was more or less pretending to be a fortune teller and a PR consultant because he's just that fucking dumb. But he's actually straight up publishing his own name in some of these as an author. And I use the word author incredibly loosely. I have taken dumps that were more consistent and worthwhile to listen to than trying to read this inside my head while I'm looking it over. And that's me trying to be fair. That's not even me using my own personal disdain for this individual to say this. Who the fuck is Sapo? I legitimately don't know who the fuck that is. When you're asking me that I'm someone that I've never fucking heard of, that's where I'm getting confused. The beginning. Okay. There was a teenager. For some reason, the T in the word teenager is capitalized, even though it's in the middle of a sentence. That, like, I'm already having issues with this because this is a massive fucking. Like, I'm sorry, but this shit gets to me. I hate it when people write poorly. It actually drives me fucking nuts. It makes my fucking OCD go worse. I'm not usually OCD about a lot of things, but when it comes to writing, spelling, and punctuation and grammar, it fucking kills me. Can you explain the meaning of life? Well, truth be told, life doesn't really have any inherent meaning. Life has whatever meaning you give it. Life has whatever meaning you decide to attach to it. It can be an excuse to be a complete cocksucker to everyone, like you are right now, or it can be a reason to try to be the best person you can be to maybe make the world a better place for those around you and yourself. That's just what I think. Everyone is allowed to agree or disagree as they please. Alright, let's get back on track, goddamn. Who was around 15-16 years of age. Keep in mind, he's not spelling the numbers out. He's straight up using the numbers as numbers. Which would be appropriate if he was quoting what he's reading in a label or a sign. But when you say that and you're trying to use it as what you're describing in a book without dictating whether or not it's some sort of pictured element, it just comes off as clumsy and lazy. The weird thing is, this guy is not even sure how old this character is. He doesn't even have a consistent age for this character to be. See, that's the problem. If you're an unreliable narrator from the very start, it makes it incredibly difficult for any reader to really get invested in what goes on in the story. Not if there's much that goes on to begin with, but let us proceed with this, like, slow, painful psychological torture that masquerades as a book. He liked music, and wardrobe was all black cloths, not clothes, cloths, and for some reason the C in the word cloths is capital. I'm sorry, but this is bad. This is already going to be bad. The weird thing is he's not describing whether it's like black band t-shirts or whether it's just simply like plain black t-shirts, long sleeves or short sleeves, pocket in the front, no pocket in the front. Like, these details might not seem like much, but they do aid in descriptions and they do aid in assistance and world building. If you know what someone wears, you can kind of develop some type of predisposed idea of what their personality might be. And I'm not getting any really helpful here. No one gives a fuck about your issues with furries, sir. This is completely irrelevant, and I'm not gonna acknowledge that any further because that's just stupid. Dude, why do I give two fucks about your hate boner for furries? If you have a problem with people who wear fursuits committing sex crimes, I completely understand that. But why is that relevant here? That's like walking into the hospital and asking them if they can cash a paycheck. You're in the wrong fucking building, sir. Jesus, this actually sucks so much. This sucks too much to read that I feel like my brain is actually starting to try to kill me. Just so it doesn't have to suffer. Let's see. When he listened to his music, it was punk rock and sometimes heavy metal. Okay, well, he's not describing what genre of punk. Is it grunge punk? Is it like a more alternative punk? Like, he's not really giving a good idea of like what the story is, what the character likes. But might as well be as vague as humanly possible, because it's a lot easier to be vague than it is to actually act like this person actually has real human traits and real behaviors that a person can actually understand. I have a disability, so I have a hard time understanding. If you have a hard time understanding, then please go away. This is not an anti-furry thing. This is just me reading a shitty book for everyone's amusement. And giving my thoughts on it as I go. His hair was black and it was combed to the side. And he had a nose piercing. He's like, yeah, it's exactly. Is it 70s, 80s California punk? 70, like, he doesn't know what specific means. His whole idea of specific just means that he'll mention a particular letter of the alphabet to attach to something, and that's specific enough. When he says P, it could mean punk rock, pineapple, pistol, pump action shotgun, police baton, polio, pogo stick. No one knows. It just starts with the letter P. That's good enough. Oh, Jesus. One night he was walking the street until early morning and walked into the donut shop, and the good officer looked up and saw the teenager and said, "Hey buddy, what are you doing here so early?" Could someone explain to me why there's a 15, 16-year-old dude just wandering around town in the middle of the fucking night? Like, why? Why is he wandering the streets? Did he need to take a walk to clear his mind? Was there a lot of shit going on? Did he need to clear his head and just need to get away from everyone for a little bit? I mean, a lot of these things could have made sense if he actually had built up some kind of situation that would give him a reason to be there. Did he feel like it was just a good time for a walk? Did he want to get out of the house for a minute? Like, these things are important because if he's there for no fucking reason, no one has a reason to care and it's a relevant detail. You might as well just say he took a shit on the ground at some point, because that's about as meaningless. Let's see here. He replied, "I was walking the street all night." Then the good officer said, "You'd better run back home then, son." The emo boy looked down at Sadis and said, "Yes, sir!" Could someone explain to me how he went from being, like, completely nonchalant about wandering the streets until 4 in the fucking morning to automatically freaking out and screaming? Because when he says yes sir, there's exclamation points, like he's fucking yelling at nothing. Seriously, is this kid having like a fucking bipolar episode where he's just automatically pissed about nothing? I mean, it would make sense because people with bipolar disorder do have like complete personality shifts at times. But it's kind of weird that when you see someone try to write about it in such a way, it just seems like it's forced. It seems so forced that you don't care or you don't like it at all. Christ on a bicycle. So he walked out of the donut shop and he was off on his way going home. You could have just said he was on his way home. This is like someone that's trying hard to sound they try to sound competent in being a writer. They try to make things sound complex and intriguing. And it just comes off as sounding like some person's trying way too hard to make their language overly flowery, and all it does is just end up completely fucking up what you're trying to say. Fuck. He'd go home and he was so tired. He'd go home. Okay. That's how people write nowadays, apparently. He fell down on his bed fast asleep. He couldn't have just said he fell asleep as soon as he hit the pillow. No, it's still kind of clumsy, but it would work in the sense that you're describing someone being so absolutely exhausted that they just collapse on their bed and pass the fuck out. Would be a little bit better way to describe it. The day came fast and he woke up at... Okay, so he woke up at noon. Something was off, as he thought. Again, how can you describe something as not seeming right if you yourself have only been awake for... I mean, this guy was apparently awake all night, fell asleep at like 6 in the morning and woke up at noon, so he's had roughly maybe 6-7 hours of sleep if I am to adjust it properly. And he just wakes up at noon and thinks something's wrong for no real reason. I think the only reason you think it's wrong, dipshit, is probably because you stayed up all night and you've slept halfway through school. That's probably why he thinks something's off. He probably slept almost he almost slept through an entire fucking school day, and his parents aren't home or no one's noticing the fact that he's missed school. Does anyone else think it's a little bit weird that apparently his parents, like, don't exist so far? Like, they're just in their own little pocket dimension away from him, apparently. Most likely until he'll need them to be there, then they'll, like, spawn into existence like he's just entered their draw distance. There was a time when he had friends, but most of the time he was lonely, looking for somebody to talk to. And he spelled two as in T-O-O, as in something's being included, instead of as in someone he would like to speak with. And the weird part is he spelled two right the first time, and then spells it incorrectly right after he spelled it right, after the word talk. This is what happens when you have the special ed kid that failed special ed trying to write. I mean, no joke. The next night he went to the graveyard with a Ouija board and started to play around until something or someone started to watch him. Well, how do you know someone's watching you? The feeling of being watched is not really a certainty that someone's watching you. It's more or less the belief that someone could be watching you, but that is not a guarantee that someone is watching you. That's a weird fucking thing to say. Because again, the context is kind of... kind of weird, because it implies that someone is watching him and he somehow knows it without any sort of indication that he feels being watched. As soon as he As soon as he walked, who the evil spirit followed him home, then a scary stuff started to happen. Okay, well, here's the thing. He's not explaining whether or not the board was used to talk to someone that might have allowed someone to get a... Like, usually when someone uses a Ouija board in a story related to ghosts, the Ouija board more or less acts as a gateway. It allows them to access our world from their world. It's like a doorway they can travel in and out whenever they so choose. Just like how burning it kind of sears that doorway open. Again, this is like watching a retard write. The lights flickered off and on. Then objects started to move on its own. You mean move on their own. And then he decided to go on rapey. Kidding, but seriously. This sounds like the kind of shit someone that's fucking possessed might do when they're fucking stupid. Let's see here. Emo Boy knew he was being followed by a ghost or a spirit of some sort. He went to a shop and bought some sage to try and cleanse his house, but things got worse. Well, here's the thing. My Immortal is... Yeah, exactly. This is like one of the worst things ever written. The thing is, though, like, usually when someone has an attachment, like when something latches onto them from a haunted location, for example, you don't notice right away. It's not immediate. There's usually like a cooldown time, is what people usually describe, before it actually becomes active. Not to mention, it would usually be some sort of event to trigger or more or less aggravate an entity to behaving in a negative way. Unless you just have a really irritable fucking poltergeist. The next day he called a priest to bless the house. Everything calmed down. Emo Boy asked himself if everything was okay. Keep in mind, okay is in Oklahoma, not okay is in alright. In my house, but couldn't come with an answer for himself. Yeah, fir, like a type of tree. I love how when people get blocked for being cunts in the chat, they immediately fuck off and then they'll come back like 5 minutes later when they're done signing into another alt or creating one in 10 minutes. Seriously, if you're that hungry for attention, you can always try talking to a therapist, because it seems like mom and dad didn't pay enough attention to you as a child, you fucking cunt. Ah, Jesus. The priest overheard the question, replied, I don't know. I just threw blessing your house. Then Emo Boy replied, I was just thinking to myself. The police apologized. I didn't mean to overhear you. As he replied back, the Emo Boy pushed the priest out of the house saying, I think you overstayed your welcome. Okay, so what you're saying is that because someone overhears what you say, and they answer it, you automatically have to act like a giant dick to them and force them out of your home. Is this how Lance acts in real life, that whenever someone says something to him, the first thought needs to automatically, fucking fly off the handle? You're about as funny as lung cancer. Don't you love it when people start creating accounts to follow me around because they have too much free time on their hands? Try getting laid, try developing a social life, try doing something that doesn't revolve around being a retard for attention. Seriously, are you trying to win an argument with someone that doesn't care for it? This is like watching the retarded kid in class try to get the teacher's attention. Let's see. Soon later, well, is it soon or later? Is it soon or is it later? Because soon implies that it's going to happen shortly. Later implies that it's going to be a little bit of a ways off in terms of occurrence. Do me a fucking favor. Learn how the past and future tense work. Jesus fucking Christ. This is why a retard should not be allowed to write. He came home and found out he used a Ouija board, and they were a bit disappointed. They wanted him to get rid of the Ouija board, but he refused. So they kicked him out of the house and told him to find another place to live. Okay, so let me get this straight. Instead of simply explaining to him what could happen if he fucks with the board again, they just immediately boot him out of the house like no ifs, ands, or buts. More importantly, why the fuck would you want to keep the board considering the shit that you more or less invited into your home when you fucked with it the first time? This kid is just legitimately fucking retarded. That's like lighting your own fucking foot on fire, and when they take away the shit that you used to light your foot on fire, you start complaining because they're preventing you from doing it again. This is ridiculous. Yeah, piss off, useless scumfuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. He was homeless without. Yeah, without is for some reason, instead of it being a compound word, he's put it as two separate words when he could have just made a compound word and shortened the sentence and actually made it flow a little bit better. And without, okay, he spelled without as a compound word this time. A house to shelter him. The good officer took him back to his house and had a long discussion to his parents about him, and they agreed to punish him. Well, wait a minute. Oh, fucking wait a minute. They just kicked him out of his fucking house. What other punishment is, like, are they going to let him back in the house and then do a different type of disciplinary measure? Or are they going to punish him, but him being evicted is going to be the punishment and the cops just going to have to roll with it? Like what exactly is going on here? You're not making sense, sir. They told him he was grounded for 5 months. Yeah, 5 spelled using the actual number instead of spelling out the word 5. And at the word months, use 2 exclamation points. And to stay in his room. Well, wait a minute. You just evicted him from his house. Now you want him back in the house, but you're going to basically put him under house arrest for almost half a year? I mean, what the fuck's the point of that? I mean, what is that supposed to establish? What kind of standard is that going to set? This doesn't make any fucking sense. First you evict him, and then you put him under house arrest, essentially. What kind of dumb shit is this? I don't mind trolls when they're funny, but when they just try to dox you, it just sounds retarded because it's legitimately the only thing in their repertoire that they have that they think will actually get some kind of reaction. Otherwise, I'll just sit there, roll my eyes, and make fun of them. And even then, doxing isn't really clever. Any retard can do it if they have some fuck that digs enough in someone else's shit. I mean, all that does is prove to me that they have so little of a social life, they'll do stupid shit for attention because mom and dad either beat the shit out of them as kids, or just didn't even acknowledge their existence as human beings. And I'm sorry mommy and daddy didn't love you, but you guys need to find something better to do than take all your bullshit out on someone else. If you're referring to a particular show, no. Homeless now, oh Jesus fucking Christ. He started to cry as he roamed the streets, couldn't get a job, and tried begging for money, but nobody could help him. Well, wait a minute. First you said he's allowed to live in... You just a minute ago, like no more than like 45 seconds ago, you established that he could live in his house again, provided he would be staying in his room and not leaving the building. And now you're saying that he's homeless again. Pick a fucking continuum. Pick a continuity. Pick a fucking continuity. This is just as bad as the Millennium Godzilla series was when it kept rebooting every 2 years. As much as I like those movies, it was disappointing to have the storyline resettle every couple of years. More tears flowed down his face, and his dark makeup ran down as well. You can tell that he was very sad. So the fact that he was crying was not the fact that he was sad. The makeup is what decided that. Like, his makeup running down like someone had basically just covered him in black paint. What you need to take is a vacation from this comment section because no one here wants you. Let me just say that now. Let's see here. He was lost, and the wind blew, and it made him cold. He found a cardboard box and made a sign saying, "We'll dance for money." Oh, Jesus Christ. Does anyone else think it's kind of weird that the dude that was on a pedophile website actually makes part of a book where a teenage boy dances for money? Seriously, was the priest coming over to his house for some Catholic priest type bullshit and not actually blessing the house? Because I can't help but wonder. This is making me ask some really uncomfortable questions. And he put himself at the street corner and started to dance. Like a hooker. Like a fucking hooker. You go ahead to support the retarded, neo-Nazi, homophobic, crazy, racist dirt potato. I don't give two fucks. I don't care. Honestly, I think those UTTP people are a bunch of dumb faggots anyway, because it's basically just a bunch of glorified internet hall monitors pretending to be trolls. In the words of the Pope, be in peace and fuck off. Seriously, does anyone else think it's kind of weird, though, that Lance describes this 16-year-old dancing like a... Now, here's the thing, I don't think he's dancing like a hooker, but I think it's kind of weird that, like, he's not describing whether he's doing, like, an Irish jig or whether he's just, like, doing some weird fucking dances you see in the 2000s. So this is open for interpretation, but considering the author and what the author's been on, I can't help but feel fucking concerned. Oh yeah, this makes Stones to Abigail look good, as scary as that thought might be. People gathered around him and watched him dance, and they gave him money. This sounds like a borderline prostitute kind of situation. I would think so, Dan, but I highly doubt it, considering the fact that Jobo's legitimately too fucking retarded to do anything. I doubt very much that he would actually look for us. Yeah, it's probably just a retard pretending to be...
You are listening to the Anshine Show. This is the end of part 1.
I am a Filipino. I live in the Philippines. And I am a transgender girl. Hi everyone, this is Anjan, and today I'm here to share to you guys how I live my life, or should I say how we live our lives as a transgender girls here in the Philippines. Well, I can say that it's hard because for a fact that in the Philippines, 92% of the population is Roman Catholic, and you know for a fact that being a Roman Catholic, you have same-sex marriage is still, you know, not being approved by the church. It's good to know that the Philippines is like the 10th most gay-friendly country in the world, and I'm so happy to know that. But discrimination isn't still being addressed here for transgender people specifically. Well, sometimes you just don't want to go out because when you go down the street, you will be like stoned, abused verbally. They will say something stupid to you, like they will treat you like you are a hookup. That sometimes there are indecent proposals that a guy will approach you and will like ask you to have sex with him, and you just need to pay him and you'll have sex together. It's really sad, and I feel so degraded or when I hear stories about that or experience that personally. And not all of us are comedians, so don't make fun of us. I know that in the media, on the television, everywhere, like in the comedy bars, probably transgender people are just being productive, and that's their job. That's the way they earn money. But other transgender people, you shouldn't make fun of them. Like me, we are probably living our lives like normally, and it's really like painful to like put on something that we don't want, like a funny thing, like transgender girls being dressed up like really ugly and put on a funny situation. They will be criticized, and it's gonna be really funny because it's a comedy show. But behind that, I am sad because people who watch the shows like that getting the mindset that all transgenders are comedians and funny and they can all laugh at us. Well, I hope Filipinos are watching this video, and I also know that I have Filipino subscribers, so please share this video to all of your Filipino friends on your Facebook account. They should see this video, and I would like to tell them that we're all people, we're all human rather, and we also have feelings. You shouldn't discriminate us just because you want. You can just laugh at us just because you like. We want to live our lives normally here. Probably in your everyday lives you see us everywhere. Just ignore us. You don't have to hurt us with words, and you don't have to tell us that we are like gay or lesbian. I just hate that Filipino call us gay generally or lesbians generally. I should probably have to make a separate video for that, like how to identify or differentiate transgender, transsexuals, gay, lesbians, asexuals, pansexuals, and teach people how to identify one. Well, going forward, I think being a transgender, your general problem, or your one big problem is, you're always being discriminated. On this video, I'm not just saying that it's really difficult to live as a transgender here in the Philippines, but it is also like happy, like it is also good. I really love call centers because discrimination doesn't exist in the work environment. As long as you can work for them, you can help them to make their company like better. Supervisors, transgender supervisors, you can find transgender supervisors in call centers. I've been one, and what else? They're open with third sex. They don't mind if you are transgender, and they will still talk to you like you're just a normal people. So I really love working in call centers or BPO companies because I feel at home. If you guys looking for a job, you probably have to go ahead and visit a call center and try your luck. Another thing that's really good is I'm so proud that I am transgender transgender Filipino, because these transgender girls make me proud as well.
Kevin Balot, Miss International Queen 2012, a Filipino transgender icon. I adore her beauty. Manila Luzon, Filipino-American drag queen. Gina Rosero, supermodel, co-founder of Gender Proud, and she just came out as transsexual. Vice Ganda, talented host, box office king, queen.
I'm really proud of these girls. It's like uplifting when you are seeing Filipino transgender girls in the news that they have given the country like a pride that that make us really happy, and like it's really uplifting. So girls, please continue that, and I'm looking forward to meet you in person someday. I love you. To all transgender girls all over the Philippines and all over the world, don't lose hope. Be strong. If you are in a situation that is really hard, don't forget to pray. I know for a fact that there are other transgender girls or transgender people that are being like hated by their own family, and they're not being accepted for who they are. Don't worry. It will take time for them to realize that you are their son, you are their daughters, so you have to be patient. Always remember that there are friends to be there for you, to talk to, and some shoulders to lean on. Or if you need someone to talk to, just add me up on Facebook or just send me a message. You don't have to add me, just send me a message. Feel free to talk to me if you have any problem. I'm willing to answer all your questions or to talk about your problems for like being a transgender girl or transgender guy. Don't hesitate, please. Be strong, be patient, and when you're taking hormones, please go out and see a doctor. Don't up your dosage. Be healthy, and wherever you are, you have to love yourself. Don't hate it. Don't hate yourself. Just be yourself. Show the people that you are you. Thanks for watching, and I love you. Mwah.
You are still listening to the Enshine Show. This is the beginning of part 2.
Jobo. It's all they know how to do. They put on the skin of someone else, pretending to be someone else, trying to start shit between two people that either one of them doesn't even exist on this platform anymore, or the other one's just tired of their bullshit and doesn't really care. He was such a good answer that the good officer noticed him. Could someone explain to me why the fuck this police officer is following around this homeless teenager that's dancing like a hooker on a street corner? Is this Officer Nance to the rescue? Seriously, is this officer secretly a pedophile? I want to know. For the sake of argument, why is he following this kid around? This isn't a concerned citizen. This is just creepy. The officer walked up and asked, "Why are you dancing in the street, son?" He replied, "Because I'm homeless, sir." He stopped dancing and broke in tears. Let me get this straight. Probably because he would, Dan. Let me get this straight. This kid was completely fine dancing because he was making money, and then he's immediately fucking crying again. Like there's no build-up to his emotions actually changing. There is legitimately no emotional threshold for this character. It's like he's sitting on a tightrope between crying like a bitch or acting like a dumbass. Like the author. Ironically enough, he's put himself into this story unintentionally. Ah, Jesus. The good officer asked, "Do I need to bring you home?" The emo boy refused. "No, don't. I did something bad." Let me get this. This is like a retarded kid. Like, here's the thing. A 16-year-old would be more worried about being homeless than he would being worried about being in trouble for a while. Now, speaking as someone who was a teenager a while ago, if I got in trouble for doing stupid shit as a teenager, I'd be more worried about being homeless or getting injured or getting fucked up in some way than I would be whether or not someone would just be disappointed in me for a few months, and then I'd have to kind of just sit down and take it easy and then just slowly work out what I did wrong. This is written from the perspective of someone who's thinking like a 9-year-old, trying to portray the character of someone who's 16 or 15. This is legitimately the writing skill of a dumbass. What's the name of this book? It's legitimately just called The Emo Boy. This character does not have a name, a birth date. He does not have a family name. He does not have anything. Don't touch me. That is my no-no square. Oh, God. Yeah, the author is a genuine fucking psychopath. I mean, there's a reason the author has to take pills that make him impotent, because he's legitimately out of his fucking gourd. Alright, let's keep reading. Sneaking out. The emo boy opened his window and jumped out with $20 in his wallet. He decided to go to the store and buy some eggs. He had an idea. He got the eggs and went to a residential area and started two egging houses. Little did he know, the good officer was secretly watching and jerking off in his squad car, I'm willing to bet. Officer Nance is on the case. Seriously, does anyone else think it's weird that this cop has like some weird type of sixth sense where he's always where he needs to be, even though there's legitimately no fucking way for you to know what this kid's doing in the middle of the fucking night? You mean to tell me what is Officer Nance camped out in this dude's backyard, sitting in his treehouse, jerking off and following this kid around? I mean, I can only imagine he had a treehouse. It doesn't really need to exist because, like everything else in the story, it only exists if it needs to exist for that moment. And then because the author has no idea what object permanence is, it just ceases to exist once it's no longer necessary for the plot progression. Like, the planet is only necessary when the plot needs to move forward, but after that, everyone's basically just sitting on like a square of infinity, floating in the void, moving about random fucking everyday tasks. I hate it too, believe me, I hate it too. It's fucking horrible. The cop pulled out his car and yelled at him, "Stop!" Emo Boy dropped the eggs and started running, and the good officer chased after him. Emo Boy came to an end because the officer got out of the car and shot him 12 times. Oh, if only it was that simple. Emo Boy came to an end, and the officer got closer and caught him. Jesus Christ, this sucks. Because this is legitimately a Cape Fear vibe. Well, you walked into me reading something so incredibly cringeworthy, it feels like my brain is actually going to kill me when I'm done. Okay, well, got closer and caught him. Like, what does that mean? Was he cornered at a dead end and the cop caught him in the squad car? Could he not run away anymore? Did he just run out of energy and kind of just fell asleep? Or, like, fell down because he just exhausted himself trying to flee from a cop car? More importantly, he's not really explaining whether or not he's chasing him on foot or if he's following him in the squad car. He just says that he caught him, but he's not explaining how. Chapter 4, in Juvie. I love how there are chapter numbers now. There haven't been so far. That night was terrible! Exclamation point, because some dumbass doesn't know how to write. Emo Boy was caught, and now he has to go to juvenile detention center. At the detention center, he had to fill out forms and register him on file. Most likely because, just like the author, he was on Rapey. The thing is, though, they wouldn't necessarily just send you to, like, juvenile detention center. They might give you a fine if it's a first offense. They wouldn't just throw you in detention for that. Like, you may have to serve a weekend in jail, maybe a night in jail. Depending if you're a minor, depending upon the state, they might just take you back to your parents. You might have to pay a fine or do some community service. But it's usually as simple as that. It's usually not as severe as boom, detention center. He was then thrown in a cell with a cellmate. His cellmate was named Josh. Josh asked Emo Boy what he did. Emo replied, egging houses. Josh was surprised. That's a terrible thing to do. Yeah, Josh was just in there for raping a couple people. Emo Boy did the egregious crime of egging houses. This is so fucking stupid. Emo Boy looked down on the ground and exclaimed, I did not mean to egg the neighbor's house. Let me get this straight. He did not mean to actively do something that he was cognizant in doing the entire fucking time. This sounds like the dumb shit author saying he didn't mean to do something when he actively carried out the necessary steps to do something. This legitimately feels like I'm just reading Lance's life story, only slightly different. Instead of egging houses, he went to a child porn website. And, like, just got done cooking. Oh, that sounds good. And that sounds actually really good, Dawn. I'm not super into vegetarian food, but I like it. Well, he probably would, Dan. He probably would condone it because in his mind, if it's not hurting anyone at the moment, it doesn't matter if it's hurting them at all. It is awful. This story is legitimately fucking cringe. Like, I didn't mean to do what I obviously meant to do because I more or less bought the eggs. Like, the weird part is, when he bought the eggs, he had the entire time between going to the store, walking inside, looking around at the eggs, and deciding whether or not he wanted to do it. And even after he bought them, he had the entire time of walking down the street into his own neighborhood, no less. I mean, how do you not recognize your own neighbor's house? If they're in your fucking neighborhood, if you live in a cul-de-sac, it's obvious they're gonna fucking recognize you. That'd be as stupid as me lighting my neighbor's house on fire. They're gonna know who the fuck I am because I live next door. This is legitimately the fucking intelligence of a retard at work. Holy... like, seeing him write, and just seeing how little he understands. How many plot... like, there's more plot holes in this than there are in almost any amateur screenwrite in Hollywood. And that is saying something. For us to be friends would imply I'd know who you are or care. Just so you know. 4 year. Yeah, 4 year. Like, just the number 4 year. And Emo Boy was released. Why the fuck would they hold someone for 4 years for minor vandalism? That doesn't make sense. No court in the United States would ever give a minor 4 years for doing minor vandalism. That's legitimately fucking retarded. That's just not realistic. Like, a few months community service, a few months probation, Those are things that someone might do if someone's caught committing vandalism. People are not going to give you 4 years just for committing an egging. That's legitimately that's not how that works. That's legitimately the mindset of a dumb fucking human being. He was sent back home with parents, and he was now 20 years old. Okay, so he was 16 then, because before the age was inconsistent. If it's been 4 years and he's 20, then he was 16, to do simple math for Lance's stupid ass. A story that I never heard was kind of awful as hell, in my opinion. Never heard of it. Oh god. He decided to take a joyride in his dad's car. He got in the car and floored it to 75 miles per hour. 75 is, again, a number instead of spelt out. And then the good officer saw him speed past and pulled him over. Look, where the fuck is this person driving to? That there's just a random... It's the same cop that basically has been borderline molesting him the whole story. Why is this cop following him around? Well, they need to find something better to do with their times. If they're legitimately so bored with life, they gotta follow a nobody like me around. What does that say about their lives? I mean, I'm doing this because I just wanted to entertain people on Memorial Day before I get ready to go to sleep in an hour and a half. This is actually sucking. So much. The officer asked him, "Do you know how fast you were going?" Emo Boy said, "No, sir. I wasn't paying attention to the speed thermometer. It's speedometer. Emphasis on sped." Exactly. That's legitimately what the steamed ham memes all over again. This is like the embodiment of the steamed ham meme. The good officer then said, "I'm going to have to write you a ticket for speeding." Could someone explain to me why none of these people have names? Like, the only person that has a name is the side character of Josh, which only existed long enough to say one line of dialogue, and then ceased to fucking exist. It's like he walked out of the fucking dimension that they all call home. Like he just into a membrane to another reality. Chapter 5, back at home. Right. He can't spell, he can't write, and when it comes to writing characters, he's about as good as the author of Twilight. Actually, no, at least Twilight had characters that could actually think. Emo Boy looked around and found the Ouija board he had as a teenager. He decided to burn it and get rid of the evil spirit and ghost that was plaguing his parents' house. Again, how do you know if it's plaguing your parents' house? There's been no mention of paranormal activity. You're more or less making the assertion that apparently the ghost that has not been mentioned of for a little bit is apparently now plaguing your home when there's been no mention of paranormal activity from your parents. Your parents have not mentioned this in the story. So that's a pretty big leap to make when there's nothing to build it up. Junji Ito needs to find you and bitch slap you. At least Twilight was funny just because it was so bad. Let's see. Tossed it in the fire and burned it. The board was gone for good! Exclamation point, exclamation point. Can you do me a favor and stop writing like you're trying to text someone? Texting and writing are not the same thing. They require the same basic principles when it comes to putting letters together to form sentences, to express ideas. But that is not the same fucking thing as trying to say it as though you're trying to convince other people that it's big, bad, and scary. You might as well have written this for 5-year-olds and said, "Sorry, but I'm too retarded to write in a way that even a 5-year-old will like." Emo Boy looked in the newspaper from the job section to find himself a job. He found work as a busboy cleaning tables at a restaurant. He applied and he got it. Soon he was working getting $15 an hour. Lance, you don't know shit about working. You don't. So please, don't talk about people who work, even in a fictional situation, because you're legitimately too fucking stupid to understand what a real work is. Because you don't do it. You don't work for anything. Your existence is more or less a giant middle finger to people like myself who actually work 40 hours a week and pay taxes. Because people like you run around basically sponging off the taxpayers like a douche because you're too dumb to actually apply yourself. You just choose not to do anything. People like you can bag groceries, you're just too stupid to want to. Let's see. Days went on even to months. Just say days turned to months. Soon enough, he had enough money to buy an apartment, so he moved out of his parents' house, brought his own apartment. Here's the thing. You don't buy an apartment. You rent an apartment. You don't own that space. The landlord owns that space. You're more or less paying for use of the space and occupation of the space. That does not mean you own it. Christ, this actually hurt. Nighttime came, and as soon as he fell asleep, he had nightmares about the Ouija board, saying in his sleep, "I shouldn't have burned it," over and over. Well, here's the thing, are the nightmares actually scary? What's going on in the nightmares? You're not really being very descriptive. For all I know, the nightmare is basically just him being on rapey.co. And then people found out about it, and they made fun of him about it. Christ, hell. Oh yeah, Anne Rice. If I remember right, she was the one who wrote the Interview with the Vampire and I believe Queen of the Damned, if my memory serves. Oh jeez. The night terrors gave him a cold sweat. He woke up instantly. Had trouble sleeping. Well, here's the thing. It's either he had trouble sleeping or he just couldn't sleep at all. Difficulty sleeping does not mean he's not sleeping. It just means he has a hard time staying asleep. Like, I'm sorry if it feels like I'm nitpicking here, but this shit's starting to annoy me. He went to his kitchen and got some melatonin pills and took 2 of them and went back to sleep. So you mean to tell me you have them in the kitchen, like they're not in the medicine cabinet in your bathroom? No, they're in the kitchen for some reason. Why in the kitchen? You could have just put a glass inside your bathroom and put it on the fucking counter next to your sink. Chapter 6, and now he's back to like not naming the chapters. The next day at work, he was busting down some tables, cleaning after each customer. Busting, because apparently he was like fucking body slamming people into tables like it's WWE, instead of cleaning them. It was a pretty easy day, but the Ouija board stayed on his mind. He went to go see his boss and asked his boss, "Do you know where the Ouija board is?" His boss replied, "Of course I do. Keep them damn boards away from me and away from this establishment. Never buy another one again." Okay, now this would be a somewhat reasonable reaction if someone actually genuinely explained, "Yes, I know what it is. No, I don't like them. And keep them away from me." But the problem is he's basically trying to add intrigue that he doesn't even know how to properly build on. Emo Boy was confused. He questioned himself, "How did he know I got a Ouija board?" Well, it was most likely because you asked him about it. Now, it's possible it's somewhat of a leading statement, but that does not mean that he necessarily knows that you bought one or had one. It implies that he suspects you might already have one, or have owned one. This guy's so fucking stupid. Yeah, but let's see. His boss interrupted his thought process. Dude, you don't have a thought process. Exactly, it's a conflict of the story that doesn't work. And his thought process was interrupted. Dude, you don't have a thought process. Saying, "Yeah, I might have burned it too, right?" Emo Boy got more confused, asking himself, "How did my boss know that I burned it? Maybe he's a psychic, or maybe he's been stalking you like Officer Nance has." Never mind, boss. I'll get back to work. Emo Boy still thinks about the Ouija board to this day. He promised himself he'll never buy another Ouija board again. Well, that's all well and good, but you had what could have been an interesting way to build a little bit of lore around your boss, or maybe develop some character background as to why it is he dislikes the boards and his experiences with them. But you just immediately just said, "Fuck that, that would require me to be able to think." The next night, Emo Boy went to sleep again, and he tried not to think about the Ouija board. Something was in his closet watching him sleep. He had a strange feeling that he should go check it out from his bed. He went to his closet. Wow. This sucks so much. Again, how can you know if someone's watching you if you don't really feel someone's watching you? That's like some weird sixth sense shit that doesn't make any... It's nonsensical. Another thing, if you say you get up, it's because you could say you got out of bed, grabbed a flashlight, and walked across the room. Would have made a lot more sense than, "He's just across the room now." Exactly. I want to picture just like fucking Iron Man and the Hulk just pounding the shit out of this retarded caricature of Lance. This is really just a caricature of Lance if he was trying to be edgy. It's legitimately the caricature of a stupid person. There was nothing in the closet. He said, okay then, went back to sleep. Around 3 a.m. he heard 3 knocks, woke up immediately. Yes, he was probably watching one of those 3 a.m. challenge videos. That's what retards like, right? He was disturbed. He could not put his mind at ease with this. Well, of course not, because with a mind as dumb as yours, how could you put it at ease, Lance? Okay, I shouldn't have never purchased a Ouija board, but I'm dealing with a ghost still. He was up all night until 7 a.m. in the morning. He could not get any sleep due to the paranormal activity. Insert shitty movie plug here. Emo Boy went to church to see the priest, and they had a conversation, but what happened last night, and what it could be, what could it mean? They talked longer and longer until they came up with a conclusion. The priest gave Emo Boy some holy water. Emo Boy got home and blessed his house. Doused his entire got home. Excuse me. He doused his entire room with holy water, left to right, up and down, and made a symbol of a cross. Night came and he went back to try to sleep. Everything was quiet, not even a sound. He slept comfortable until the paranormal activity ramped up again. This time his light turned on without him flipping the switch. It gave him the chills. He said, "Who the heck?" The ghost was still hunting him and followed him to his apartment. There was no way he could get rid of it. He suffered with the ghost of the Portuguese. Or the Portuguese. Whatever this thing could be. Emo did not have a clue. Well, apparently it was a Portuguese ghost. It was a Portuguese poltergeist. The ghost or the Portuguese, because I'm sure the Portuguese had a lot to do with your room being haunted. I'm sure the Portuguese had a lot to do with this. The psychic. He called over a psychic to see if he can communicate with the ghost. The psychic and himself held hands together. They chanted, then suddenly a cold feeling came over the ghost, went inside the psychic's body. It started talking. "Hello," the psychic said, and Emo replied, "Who are you? Why are you haunting me?" Psychic explained to the ghost, so it made the psychic say, "I'm your past friend who died." Could someone explain to me why the fuck this person has no memory of former friends? This person's just now suddenly existing for no reason? This is like a matter of plot convenience, but it isn't really convenient. This is stupid, Chelsea. It's incredibly stupid. No boy looked confused, then asked, "My past friend?" Then the ghost. Then the ghost said yes. Then Emo Boy exclaimed, I have no friends. I am alone or go away. I'm alone or go away and leave me alone, you ghost. He pushed harder and harder just to get the ghost to leave him alone and stop haunting him. Am I the ghost? Am I the ghost? Like I'm the ghost that's haunting you because I just refuse to let you lie about people and about shit? Oh, I'm haunting you. Ooh, fuck off. Like, the weird thing is, instead of wanting answers, his first thought is immediately to get rid of it. More importantly, why would the ghost be, like, throwing objects and shit at him? Yeah, they just don't care. The weird thing is, like, this plot hole doesn't make any sense, because instead of wanting, like, a resolution to the issue, he's trying to make the ghost go away, instead of trying to put the soul to rest. Like people do when they try to make a ghost stop behaving negatively. Instead of trying to do things that can maybe put a ghost at peace, his first thought is immediately to do something that would actually aggravate the ghost and actually cause it to maybe become a poltergeist. Dumbass. And stop haunting him, but the ghost resisted, stayed inside the psychic's body. You're supposed to put an apostrophe when using a possessive noun, dumb shit. By the way, they call that channeling when someone is allowing a ghost to speak from them. They call that channeling. That's what people in the paranormal field call it. They refer to it as channeling or possession. They don't refer to it as, well, the ghost is just in their body now. That is just some of the stupidest shit I've ever seen. Almost as dumb as making dozens of alt accounts to follow around a nobody for attention. I don't understand how this is supposed to be funny to them if I'm just kind of looking at them and rolling my eyes. It's like the retarded kid in class that thinks he's being funny by eating his own shit in front of everyone. Oh boy, this actually sucks so much to read this shit. And trying to reassure him that he was a friend from his past. Let's see here. Emo Boy could not believe it, so he kept trying, pushing harder and harder until the ghost was out of the psychic's body. Then the lights flashed fast and the flashing got intense. Just like when Lance walked in front of an elementary school. Kidding, but seriously. Am I wrong for making a crack like that? The Psychic Part 2. Doors began to swing open as the lights flashed faster and faster, as the ghost proclaimed that he was his past friend from the past. You don't need to say past twice. Just say he was a friend from his childhood. That's it. That would be adequate information to imply this was someone that he's been friends with a long-ass time ago. Emo Boy yelled, "Make it stop!" There were candles on the table, the flames went out, everything was getting worse. Every door slammed in his apartment. Emo Boy watched. Emo Boy was scared. He let go of the hands of the psychic and everything stopped. Is it safe? She thought. The psychic went back to normal and asked, "What happened?" So the psychic is a girl now. The psychic is a girl now. The psychic had no gender. The psychic was essentially just a nobody, cardboard cutout with no gender and no name. But now the psychic's a woman now. Were they wearing a fucking hood the whole time so we couldn't tell what gender they were? It actually fucking hurts to watch someone this stupid try to write. Oh, don't worry, the book's completely free, Chelsea. It just still sucks, though. You were underneath the control of the ghost, but I think everything stopped now. Just say you were possessed while you were trying to talk to the ghost. The psychic asked, "How?" Then another reply from Emo Boy saying, We were in connection. I was holding your hands to communicate with the ghost." The psychic said, "Oh." Everything seemed normal, the ghost was gone and peaceful. No paranormal activity in sight. Yes, because I know... How is someone going to perceive the presence of a ghost that they have no equipment to really tell? Emo Boy could finally relax and not worry about a ghost haunting him. Well, here's the thing. If you really wanted to resolve the issue, the best thing would have been to allow the spirit to speak directly on what was going on. Alright, well, if you do it later tonight, Dan, just make sure you send me a link when you... Like, if you want, just go live, send me a link if you're going live, because that way I'll just be able to sit in and just listen to it. The next day, Emo Boy returned to work, and he told his boss everything is fine, cleaning off tables one of the time. He took his time and cleaned up tables and washed the dishes. He was relieved that the ghost was gone. He never had a past friend in his life. He seemed somewhat happy, but he can't wrap his mind around why would he burn the Ouija board. Maybe he burned it to let the ghost loose. We will never know as the story comes to an end. So what you're saying is that you're so incredibly incompetent as a writer that you can't even formulate a reasonable explanation as to why a random ghost, for no reason at all, has decided to try to latch itself on to the past of a living human being who has no idea who the fuck they are. That's so fucking stupid. I mean, you could have done a lot with this. You could have made the child be someone murdered by his employer at one point in time. You could have done so much with the plot to maybe make it one of those really tense psychological thrillers. But I'm talking to someone who has the mental capacity of a tree frog who does not understand how to fucking write. I mean, yeah, the whole ghost telling you who killed them thing is kind of cliche, but it would have worked so much better than just random ghost, random friend, random existence, random this, random that, random biffle, random wiffle ball bat. You might as well just say, I'm too stupid to write and I shouldn't be writing, but I did it anyway because I'm so fucking dumb that I will actively pursue any attempt to make money, even if it's by openly filching people with stupid worthless shit. Seriously, you're turning me into the Gordon Ramsay of writing. You stupid fucking donkey. I mean, you are legitimately the reason that a lot of people that write good books but can't get published get undercut. Because when they find out that an author might be disabled in some way, they look at shit like this and say, Jesus fucking Christ, that's the pool you came from? Stay the fuck away from our publishing house. And that's legitimately how people are gonna fucking look at them. Because of dumb fucking retards like you. Like, a retard is the best way to fucking describe someone. This goddamn stupid. Honestly, Lance, if your parents had common sense, they would have smothered you in your crib and blamed it on SIDS. This is an insult to anyone that enjoys reading. This is an insult to anyone who enjoys alternative culture. This is an insult to anyone who actually understands anything about the paranormal. Even an entry-level dumbass would say that this shit is completely ridiculous. Anyway, I want to thank everyone just for tuning in and watching me read this horse shit. I'll be sure to upload my readings of Officer Nance on a later date. Everyone take care of yourselves, have a good evening, happy Memorial Day, and it's time for me to get the fuck out of here.